happen.
So the thing is that most people, like everyone says it to me. I know he's not going to play in the NHL. We don't need an
I
NHL.
know,
Like,
yeah.
everyone says that.
Yeah.
So if you say that, then what is the issue?
Mhm.
Now I understand. So this is where I do understand this, that, like if my son's going to do the dishes, I want him to do the dishes properly. Wash them, dry them, put them away. Do it because it's important.
sure.
It's important, man. And if I'm going to pay for him to play hockey, I have an expectation. And my expectation is that he works really hard, like he tries hard. And if he puts in some extra time, then it makes me happier to see that he enjoys it. But it's not for me, man. So as a parent, if I understand, I really do. I totally understand as a dad. I don't understand why they get so caught up, but they get caught up, and there's a part of me that understands that you want your son to do well, like, and work hard and all that stuff. So if you're reasonable, you're watching and you're not judging, you're watching, and then you can look at it and say, I don't think it's his best effort, and I can talk to him about that. That's reasonable.
Yeah.
And a reasonable conversation is Eric, I'm watching you play, and I feel like you're not giving it everything you have. And you can have a rebuttal to that, and maybe I understand, and maybe you just don't work hard. So there's a red flag number one, right there. If you always have to tell him to work hard and try hard and practice, it's over, or it hasn't started. There's nothing to get excited about. You've got yourself a kid that plays hockey.
Yep.
If you got someone that works his nuts off and practices all the time and eats, breathes, and sleep hockey, now you got a hockey player possibly. But other than that, you got a kid that plays hockey, which is most of you.
Yeah. Which is
period.
fine. Yeah.
No, it's totally fine. It is what it is. That's what it is. So, but I understand that dad.
Look, let me jump in, because
Yeah, sure.
I remember, because I'm going to project onto my dad.
Yeah.
The reason that he was so hard on me, my dad's parents never let him play. They wouldn't pay for it.
Yep.
So then I start playing, and he sees I'm pretty good. And now he's thinking, if I'm not working hard or whatever, like, wow, you're wasting an opportunity that I never got when I was a kid.
Yeah,
and
I
it's
get
like
it.
you take it a bit personally as dad, but this is where that self-awareness thing comes back into it. So I feel like for you, it's almost easy. I feel like that's what I see with a lot of dads. Dads that probably didn't play or didn't get to play or weren't as good as they wanted to be or whatever. And now they see their kid, assuming he's a higher level travel or whatever player, they see their kid has a little bit of skill or is one of the better players on their team. And now they jump at the opportunity to get their kid something that they didn't get to have or whatever. And that's that living vicariously through kind of thing that people always talk about with their parents doing. You're living through your kid because you didn't get to do it, which I can understand. I can understand. But it comes back to that self-awareness thing, right?
Yeah.
Like, you have to understand that your kid isn't you. Your kid only knows what he knows. He's either going to play or he's not. It's going to be up to him. All those things that you said, you know?
Yeah. I think the other thing is, like, I guess we love hockey. Most people around here love hockey and they love watching your kids. And I don't know where, I just don't understand how it becomes a personal thing. Like, you know what I mean? As an adult, how it becomes personal.
It shouldn't.
That your son's performance validates your life in a way. Like, I've had so many conversations, and some has been with family about their kids, and it's talking to a brick. Like, it's not even a conversation after a while. All they talk about is the hockey, and so it goes back to your question: is who are you doing it for? And I think parents, that's the number one thing, is you have to, who are you doing this for, and how you do this is, like, in the book, Eckhart Tolle, what's it called?
Power of Now.
Power of Now.
Yeah.
Really powerful thing he talks about is that if you can get your own head. For example, if you're driving a car and someone kind of cuts you off and you yell at them, if you actually ask yourself, why did I do that? And go in your own head and see the process, you're going to see that it's actually stupid. That you've lost control. And if you're aware of your thoughts and see your thoughts, then you're going to act differently. So if I was a dad and I start snapping on my kid or start doing, like, hockey, I'm playing for whatever, the Windsor A team, not the Triple A team, the Windsor A team or Triple, it doesn't matter. And my kid's hockey is starting to eat at me, or I'm snapping at my kid, my wife, and I'm losing sleep, and I feel like I have the need to bring them all over the place. What I would suggest you do is you go into your thoughts every time you do something and just say, ask yourself or see yourself doing those things. And you're going to look at it and go, I'm not reasonable right now. You know what I mean?
Yeah. But
Like,
if you have any sense,
well, if you have any sense, if you have any sense, because what you're doing is it's at the end of the day, I could probably safely say your kid's not making hockey. I could probably say that. I mean, there's going to be someone say, yeah, but my son is better than your son. Okay, well, then your son might, but your son is probably not going to make it. And it's a really sad thing that.
Well, I want to take it.
Wow.
I want to take a layer deeper on this, because I think what I said, option one, like I was saying, like some dads, they didn't get to do it, and they're doing the living vicariously through. I think the other thing that, and we talk about this sometimes, some parents in general, not just dads, moms and dads, they're not happy with their own life, and this is their escape to something else. Yeah. So maybe they don't like their job, maybe they don't like their wife or their husband, maybe they don't like their family dynamic, maybe they don't like their social situation, maybe they don't like their friend group, whatever combination of those things, and their kids' sports is a door to something else. Social life, all that. Yeah. So they latch onto it because this now is the center of their life. Yeah. And to some degree, it ends up being that anyways, because like I know when I played sports as a kid, we were running around all over the province playing baseball, playing hockey, and that ends up being your life. When the weekend comes, you're taking me to my sports. 100%. And I understand that.
And I understand mom and dad want you to do it as hard as you can. Right. I get it.
But there's a very, very distinct line between that and we're also not saying to not ever push your kid or to give him shit or any of that. But there's a line between that and now you're making this about your life. Yeah. And a lot of parents, I think, do that. So it's either they're living vicariously through because they didn't get that when they were a kid, or it's the center of their life now, and it's all the joy they get in life now, and they grab it and just want to talk about it, and everything about their life has to center around their kids' hockey. So what I'm going to say to mom and dad about this, dad especially, is don't put your shit on your kid, man. Yeah. Don't put your shit on your kid. They're a little kid. They can't help it. If you have a teenager or younger child and you're doing that to your kid, get a grip, man. Like what you said, have some self-awareness and identify what you're doing, because I promise you, when your kid grows up, you'll have no relationship with them at all, and that's going to get increasingly more important as you get older, which I'm sure you talk about all the time. All you want to do is hang out with your kid. That's what you want to do. And I'm sure, I'm not a dad, but I'm sure as you get older, the importance on having those relationships probably ends up being a pretty huge part of your life.
You said you probably end up hating your dad, and I don't know if that's the thing, but you're gonna resent certain things.
That's a better way. That's what I mean to say. Yeah.
Like that's when I think of, or I laugh at my dad, not with him. My dad is not alive. Yeah. But when I think my brothers and I, we will look at this absolute lunatic, and he wasn't like beating me and telling me I was shit and work harder and stuff. He was just like constantly wanted, and I can say this 100% true, that my dad, I was his ticket. I know that for a fact. My mom told me that. It was very, very clear that my dad, I was his meal ticket. He said it to me before about buying a house and all this kind of stuff. And it was very important for me to succeed. And when I look back on it now, it's like you have no idea. Like, I didn't even find it to be pressure, but you had no idea subconsciously the pressure that puts on a kid, to like, how about you? My dad was a butcher. Cut meat, man. So I could turn those tables and, like think about it, right? If you're going to be that hard on me on a sport, you think I should do it? Well, you're working for somebody. Why don't you start a butcher shop? Why don't you go make $1 million in your business? Tell me why. If you worked harder and put time in and put your money aside and did all the right steps, then you could have a life and you wouldn't have to worry about mine. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean?
Well, then that's why I can't stand it, because a kid doesn't know to think that. The kid's helpless, man. Right. You're the boss of the kid. You're the dictator. You're the dictator. Yeah. So your kid doesn't have a lot of choice. Your kid isn't going to know to say that. You go do it.